Next up on the GC, too hot to handle. Putting a new perspective on those situations that make us want to scream. Hey guys, in this video, I want to talk about the areas of life where we're tried the most. Now, I'm not referring to the big stuff, those major trials in life. Well, that'll come a little later. Now, I'm talking about those little things that bombard us day in and day out. The stuff that gets on your nerves and under your skin and tends to stay there for a while, sometimes all day long. These are the times when you may say and do things that you would normally refrain from. For me, undoubtedly, it's in traffic. For you, maybe it's at work or around certain family members. Or perhaps just, well, when you stub your toe or hit your thumb with a hammer. See, I've noticed that God tends to put us in places that we need to be in order to learn certain life lessons. Now, the toughest place for me to maintain my spirituality, like I said, is behind the wheel of a car. So guess what kind of job God has me working? Yeah, one where I drive. A lot.
Rush hour traffic around here really sucks.
Green means go. Hello, thank you. Cheap. Thanks for the 50 cents. Now I get to sit and wait in traffic a while longer. Yeah, that was worth 50 cents. Thanks. Yeah, go ahead, turn in front of me, moron. Sorry, I didn't realize you own the road. Now, obviously, I don't always handle these kinds of situations very well, at all. Jerk. It's in times like these that I allow myself to view other human beings as lower life forms because of my assessment of their intelligence or lack thereof. Idiot! Bonehead! It's easier to get angry and call them stupid, or idiots, or morons, or jerks, or stupid! You ignorant moron! It's easier to do that than it is to make any attempt at all to show them grace. I let fellow motorists get under my skin. I let my circumstances get the best of me, and what boils to the surface is the worst of me. What the? Life gets busy, and we often become so absorbed in our own little realm that we fail to see what's going on outside of it. Like the person talking on the cell phone when the light's green and they're holding up traffic. And while it's easy to, well, look at that person and think less of them because of their actions or inaction, have you ever found yourself in their place? Well, there I was. I was on the job and I was thinking about where I was going, but I was so focused on that and lost in my thoughts, really, that I found myself sitting at a four-way stop when it was my turn to go. And the person behind me honked, and I snapped out of it, but I immediately thought of all those countless times that I had seen someone else doing something similar, and I said, well, that stupid idiot. Well, now I was the stupid idiot, sitting at the four-way stop, holding up traffic. And now I was the one making that humble I'm sorry gesture to the people behind me, hoping they would show me some sort of grace, the same grace that all too often I fail to show to others. Must you drive so incredibly slow? So then, if I am to learn grace, then God certainly put me in the right place. Life is full of little tests like that. Fail the little ones, and, well, maybe you still learn a lesson. Next time, maybe you'll do better. I seem to have to keep relearning a lot of the same things over and over, and grace is still not one of my best areas. Neither is patience. That only took all day. But eventually, one of those big tests comes along, and the better we get at the little ones, the better off we're going to be at tackling the big one. And of course, it's when we face those big problems that we start to realize just how trivial all those little things really were. And the truth is, somewhere out there, there's someone who's going through some much harder struggles than you. And one of my favorite Bible stories is the one in the book of Daniel about 3 young men, teenage boys really, named Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They were abducted from their homeland of Judah by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar's officials. They were taken to a foreign land and given new names that were really a slap in the face to who they really were. For example, Hananiah's name in Hebrew means Yahweh is gracious, but he was assigned the Babylonian name Shadrach, which means command of Aku. Who was Aku? He is the Babylonian moon god. Now, Mishael, his given name, means who is like God? A rhetorical question, of course, that really says no one is like God. But now he was given the name Meshach, which means who is like Aku, the Babylonian moon god. See, a direct affront to who this kid was really meant to be. And then there's Azariah, whose name means Yahweh has helped. His assigned name was Abednego, meaning servant of Nebo. Now, Nebo was a Babylonian god of wisdom. Yes, when referring to this story, most people refer to it as the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But once you realize that the Babylonian king had their names changed from ones that glorified the Hebrew god, Yahweh, to names that instead honored Babylonian gods, well, personally, I'd rather refer to these men by their Hebrew names, their original names, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Now, they had it tough. They're taken from their homeland to a place with different cultures and different food, different gods even. This was nothing short of an exile for them, but they still hadn't yet seen their biggest trial yet. That was still coming. And despite their circumstances, they kept their faith. Eventually, this clashed with the king in a big way. These young men refused to bow down to the idols of Babylon, and for that, King Nebuchadnezzar had them thrown into a fiery furnace to be torturously burned alive. Understand this, though. By the time they had to face this big trial, God had already prepared them by allowing them to be subjected to a lot of smaller tests. Let me ask you something. Do you know how gold and some other precious metals are refined? Well, they are placed into fire in order to burn out the impurities, and what's left is purified. Now, once it's purified, the heat from the fire really doesn't have any effect any longer. It's pure, it's refined, perfected. See, this is what God did with Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Their time of exile was also a time of training, and God prepared them for this test of fire that they would experience, so that when they were thrown into the fiery furnace, they were already refined by God, and the flames couldn't harm them. How awesome is that? What's more, the king had the furnace turned up to 7 times its normal temperature. Now, anyone who knows about numerical meaning in Scripture can tell you that 7 is the number of perfection or completeness. It's like God put his own seal of approval on the situation right there, and these boys were ready. The furnace was so hot, as a matter of fact, that the guys who threw them inside were killed by the heat. Yet these 3 young men of strong faith weren't even singed. Likewise, God prepares us for life's biggest tests by bringing us through smaller ones. Now, the next time that you feel you're going through something and you just can't stand it anymore, realize that Jesus is right there with you, just as the 4th man appeared in the furnace with those 3 young Hebrew men. Stop and talk to God. Ask him for help. These trials aren't meant to destroy you, but to empower you. And when you talk to God about your troubles, be honest with him about how you feel. Let it all out. I mean all of it, man. Because he's God. He can take it. And none of it caught him by surprise either. See, he's the one with the master plan. And his will is not to break us, except in those areas where we need to be broken. His will is actually to strengthen us, to refine and purify us, to make us ready for anything that comes our way. See you next time on the GC.